This is our different crazy ideas, and today we'll do a very interesting topic of bio, that is variations and classification. So what do you mean by the term variation? The definition of variation is the differences in characteristics between individuals of same species is called a variation. Some can be passed on from the parents to offsprings through reproduction, while some cannot be passed on. Example: blood group, skin color, rolling of tongue, etc. So you can see here everybody has a different color, everybody's heights are different, right? These dogs have different breeds, the color is different, the eye color, right? Here, this is. So what are the types of variations? Variations are of two types, and they are discontinuous variations and continuous variations. So what is discontinuous variation? These variations fall into number of distinct categories or classes and is based on features that cannot be measured across a complete range. Example: blood group AB, AB, O, etc. Sex of individual like male or female, etc. So pie chart to show different distribution of blood groups. Like type of O is 36%, so many have type O type, and AB is only 16% because it is rare. Then type B is 20%, that's like bigger, and type A is 28%. So it is showing the distribution of blood groups. So what is the second one? Continuous variation. These variations are found across a range in continuum and cannot be grouped into categories. Example: height, skin color, weight, etc. So the distribution of height across the range. This is what it is. From the smallest it is to the biggest. Even though the colors are also different. Right? Where do we find these differences? Fingerprints, differently shaped face, iris color, voice print, way of talking. So you can do an activity here. This can be an activity based on the continuous or discontinuous variation actually. Okay, so the mystery solver is an activity that you have to do. So I'm going to give you a task this time, and that is you have to solve a mystery that is based on mystery solver. The name of it is mystery solver. Now what you have to do is imagine. Okay, you have to imagine here. Wait a second. So I'm gonna put it here. So you have to imagine that you are a mystery solver. Once again, you have to imagine that you are a forensic science student. Design a crime scene with incorporate of the following in it. Like you can use variation observed, samples that can be used to differentiate. So you can use these both of them for your crime scene, and you can find these things like the fingerprints, the differently shaped face, iris color, voice print, and way of talking. So let us solve these questions now. Define the term biometric. Give 2 examples. This is also your homework for this time. State any 3 importance of the same. So you have to find these 3 things and mail me on my Gmail address that I will be adding in the description box. Causes of variations, genes. So genes, they are the definition is the smallest unit of heredity. There are 2 types of variations: inherited, that are innate, and acquired variations, that are environmental. So first let's see what are inherited variations and what are acquired variations. So inherited variations. So for this thing I will go on pages. I will be on my section and I will add one note. Okay. I will wait a second. I need to delete this one. I can't take it out. What is this? Okay, so I don't know about this, but I can go for pages and make one of them. Documents. I'm taking this one. So let's talk about what are inherited variations. What are they? They are the variations that you get from your parents by their genes. Okay? And then what are acquired variations? They are the ones you acquire. What do you mean by? Okay, so now there can be a question which is like mostly common. What do you mean by acquire? The word acquired variation. Acquired means which you get from nature, which you learn. Like wait a second. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so like which you learn, like you learn how to play football, right? How to play basketball, how to be a designer. It actually means what are your characteristics, like what you are learning to do. Okay. So now let me tell you that, like, in the first thing I mentioned here the word genes, right? The word genes. The word genes. So I'm gonna actually highlight this thing, but with another thing. So wait a second. Highlight it. What do you mean by gene? What do you mean by gene? A gene is something that passes from one passes from parents to their children. Okay, so this line which is here highlighted.
Okay.
So this is just an example. Okay, this is just an example. So now I will even it is the small. So like here, smallest unit is inherited. Smallest. I'm writing S2 because there are a lot of units. Okay. Smallest unit of heritage. Now these are really important that you learn these kind of things and see what they are. So they are smallest unit of heritage. Okay, now these are done. Now let's see what are the types of variations based on genes. Inherited variations are caused by genes, or are also called as inherited variations. Then acquired variations are variations that results as a difference in our surroundings are called as environmental variation. Okay, so I'm gonna read inherited first and then acquired. Okay, inherited variations. Variations caused by genes are called inherited variations. It is because half of the genes are transferred by the mother and remaining half by the father. They can be transferred from one generation to another. Example, rolling of tongue and some of the things like your eye color matches, right? Then acquired variations. Variations that results as a difference in the surroundings are called environmental variation. Only physical appearance is changed. There is no change in the genetic structure. Example, tanning of skin. Like now your mother didn't play basketball but you are playing. Okay. Now what happens is you get tanned. So your mother's skin is the same, but you got tanned by the environment. So it is acquired from the nature. It is acquired from the nature. Okay, that's good. Let us understand the differences through this interesting video. Okay, so I'm not gonna I am gonna show you, but at the last, or I can show you. The slideshow now. Wait a second. in biology. Cancel. Wait a second. Save a copy in my iPad. Okay, I'm gonna Files app. CAIE move. So okay, just okay. Let me see. Yes, now I can just edit it however I want. So I'm gonna open it from the variation and classification. We learn these things. Okay, we were here on this video. So I'm gonna show you this video, but at the, as I told, at the last. Okay, so let's go first. Can you quote more examples of these variations? Okay, so they are talking about they are talking about one second. Okay, I was doing it from a mount after I selected. So right here they're talking about inherited variations here, and one second, I'm gonna do it black so that you understand. Inherited. Okay, clear. Do it. Inherited and acquired variations. These are the two variations that talking about here. Okay, examples of these variations. So let's get to more things. Oops, I'm really sorry. So, can you quote more examples of these variations? Yes. So I'm gonna close the slideshow. This time. I'm gonna copy it. So I hope you get the sound because it gonna alternate. Enter. Once again, it's not going. I am going to copy this and I'm gonna paste it. Okay, one second. Paste it. One second. Done. Okay, now I guess I can paste it over here, and I can do it, I hope so, because it is not happening. Okay, so I'm gonna just go first. I hope you get the video sound.
Let's take a few minutes to talk about traits. Traits are characteristics. So when geneticists talk about the traits of humans, they're just talking about the things that make you you. There's two types of traits: inherited and acquired traits. Inherited traits are things that are coded on your DNA, which means that you get the information from your parents, and they are determined prior to your birth. It doesn't mean that you were born with them, because there are certain things that, like when you're born, a lot of babies don't have hair. What your hair looks like is determined before you're born. It just doesn't happen until a little bit later. Acquired traits are things that we learn or receive from our environment. So they're determined after you are born. And it could be something like a scar comes from your environment, which is an acquired trait that could be something that really makes you who you are, or something you learn, like how to read. Those things, they have to be taught to you, they have to happen to you from your environment. This information is not on your DNA. So let's look at a few examples here. Skin color is inherited. There's a variety of skin tones that people can have due to the amount of melanin in their body. That's inherited. But tattoos are things that are acquired. If you go to a tattoo shop and they press ink into your body with needles, it is not coded on your DNA that you're going to have a tattoo. You have to get that from your environment. Another example is hair color. You're born with a natural hair color that is determined, on your DNA, passed to you from your parents, from your grandparents, from your great-grandparents, etc., etc. However, you can acquire a hair color by how? What do you think? We have a natural, and then we can dye our hair. So sometimes the people that you see, the hair color they're walking around with is not on their DNA. They dyed it to get it that way. Another thing we have, you can inherit your hair type. Everybody has a natural hair type from curly to straight. But the cut and the style that you give your hair can be different than what is on your DNA. And that's something that you acquire, how you wear your hair. So inherited versus acquired. Now this brings us to a very interesting topic of discussion among scientists called nature versus nurture, which is really inherited versus acquired. It's a great scientific debate. There are a lot of them, and this is a big one. Intelligence, right? What is it on your DNA? What's the deal? Some of it is, definitely. There's a family connection with intelligence, but there's a ton of nurture as well. Reading, school, activities are all things that are going to play into whether you reach your maximum intelligence or not, that nurture. So we wind up having intelligence be a situation that is a little of both. If you don't nurture it, you're never going to get there. If you don't have the nature, all the nurture in the world isn't going to get you to be that optimal intelligence either. It's both. Now for height, there's definitely a family connection. We don't see two incredibly short people having a gigantically tall offspring. It doesn't work like that. But the nutrition, the diet that you eat is going to play a role in your final height. So we see now that generations have people that have children taller than them because we have good nutrition that helps you to maximize your genes. But you can eat all the food in the world that you think is going to get you tall, and you're only going to reach whatever your maximum genetic potential is. So then, why don't we look exactly like our parents, right? Because none of us do, and that is in our next video.
Okay, so we saw it. So what are the classifications? quote more examples. It's a difficult. No, it's a great question. As it was. Okay. I'm gonna just like copy this. So I need it. Copy it and copy it. And let's see another video which is based on that movie. Yeah. Inherited and acquired traits.
Everything about you is completely unique. You are one of a kind. And I don't just mean that in like a Mr. Rogers sort of way. You are completely unique. And if you don't believe me, just look around. Is there anyone who's exactly like you? No. There are a lot of people in the world. So why is that? Now, all of your physical characteristics are called traits, and there are two types of traits. They are either acquired traits or inherited traits. Now, inherited traits are the ones that you get from your biological parents. So let's look at those first. Alright, so you look the way you do because you receive traits from both of your biological parents. When two people reproduce, they both give 50% of their genes to their child. So why do you look the way you do? Well, we can use this deck of cards to help see. When two people make a child, they take 50% of their genes, 50% of their genes, and they get shuffled together. So they get put in an order to make you look the way you do. But if those two people were to make another child, their genes would be shuffled again. Now, it's still the same genes, so there's going to be some similarities, but it's not going to be shuffled in the same exact way. That's why siblings look alike, but not exactly the same. This would look nicer if I could actually shuffle cards well. Okay, so inherited traits are things that you get from your biological parents. But what about acquired traits? Acquired traits are things that you get from your environment, like a scar from falling down riding your bicycle. Or maybe it's something that you practice at a lot and get really good at. For example, my father is really good at a board game called Backgammon. But I'm not very good at that game because being good at a board game isn't a trait that can be passed down from parent to child. For me to be good at that game, I would have to practice a lot. I would have to acquire that trait. That's what we call them, acquired traits. Okay, so acquired traits can't be passed down to your kids. Things like juggling a soccer ball, you can't pass that down to your kids. That is an acquired trait. So juggling the ball is an acquired trait, but your hair color is an inherited trait. Spinning a ball is an acquired trait, whereas your eye color is an inherited trait. So something like juggling the soccer ball isn't inside of your body already. So what do I mean when I say inside your body? Alright, so think about the traits that can be passed down to children. Hair texture, eye color, skin color, all of these things are inherited traits. All of these things are inherited traits and they're in your body. They're in your DNA, and your DNA is made up of genes. So what exactly are genes? Well, you can think of genes kind of like the recipes in a cookbook. It tells your body exactly what it's going to look like. The only difference is a cookbook might have a few recipes in it, but your body is full of trillions of cells, and each cell has about 20,000 genes. That's a lot of recipes. All of those recipes decide what you look like. Okay, so let's recap. Your traits are either acquired or inherit. Inherited traits are things that can be passed down from biological parents to their children, while acquired traits are things that you get from your environment, things that cannot be passed on from parent to child. You have to acquire those traits yourself. That's it for this episode, everyone, but next time you're feeling down about yourself, just remember you are special and unique, and that's not just me saying it, it's just science by beautiful people.
So this was the video. Okay. Now let's go back to the puberty. We saw this. What are species? Now it is a very important topic. We have to be on that. What do we understand by species? A species is a group of organisms that share the same characteristics. 2 million species have been recorded by the biologists, while amongst 5 million exist on our planet. Can you visually differentiate between the species shown in the picture? Can you? Right? Not right now, but when you learn about it, you would be able to. So, the definition of species. According to Ernest Mayr, members that can breed amongst themselves and produce fertile offspring naturally are termed as species. Can different species breed? Let us revise species and then we talk about hybrids. Everything is different, okay? So concentrate on everything better. I am going to select this. I don't know how it is not selecting, but I'm sure it will. Okay, so I don't need it all. One second. Okay. Copy this. Okay. I'm gonna paste it again. Yes, this is the paste and go.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good
Species. What does it mean? It can be extremely complicated, but understanding what a species is or how closely animals are related can help you understand how ridiculously complicated the web of life actually is. A species is roughly defined as a group of animals that can interbreed and produce fertile offspring. For example, a giraffe cannot breed with an elephant. Hopefully. But a bulldog, a poodle, a chihuahua, and a wolf can all breed with each other. There can be huge changes in the way an animal looks, but if their genetics are similar enough, babies are possible. When two different species of animals have a baby together, it's known as a hybrid. Many different hybrids are possible. Some of the fun and interesting ones are a male tiger and a female lion, or a female lion and a male tiger, known as a tigon or a liger. There have been cases of wild and captive growler bears, a polar bear grizzly hybrid, I know, it's pretty ridiculous, and a zorse, a zebra-horse hybrid. There are tons of other animals that can be hybrids. Some have fertile offspring and some can't. This is why the word species is so confusing. There is no exact defined line between one species and another. It's more of a gradient. And that's because animals go through natural selection, even among different populations within the same species. This may be a scary topic, but we need to ask it. Can humans breed with any other animals? Your first thoughts may be, ew, gross. But our closest related cousins, chimpanzees, bonobos, and gorillas, share between 98 to 99% of our genetic sequence, making all of us extremely closely related. To this day, there are no known occurrences of hybridization between our species and any other great ape. The web of human evolution is one of the most interesting, yet also confusing areas in all of evolutionary biology. We want to know where we came from. You can take entire courses on human evolution. But what you need to know for the scope of this video is that Homo sapiens, us, Neanderthals, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and other species/subspecies of humans all interbred with each other. Now, I'm not saying that there was a giant orgy of all different subspecies of humans, but some like to hop over to the other side and have some fun. Now you know that a species, even the human species, may not be as straightforward as you might have thought. And as always, thanks for watching and have a super duper delicious day.
Okay, so let me tell you something that you might be thinking that if the sound is not clear or something like that, don't worry, but I will surely paste all the links that I'm watching with the like first video, second video, like that, and variations, classification, like that. So don't worry about that. Then find out 5 more examples of hybrids. Let's see, and I know the examples. Okay, so but I'm just telling you because mine are just like examples of 5. So mule and hinny makes a zebroid, a cross between a horse and a zebra. So let's see, zebroid is like something like this. I can tell you that this is not a zebroid, this one, because it has just so these are some kind of zebroids which you can see in the video. Yes. Then we have a camel. Oops, sorry. Camel. I am really dolphin. That is a whale and a dolphin. So whale and dolphin is I've seen them, but it is really difficult to find. Okay, so you can see they are long in length and has a little sweet. Okay, so you can see this one. So they are like, if you see the jumping one, which is this one, I can tell you one second. This one, you can see how big is it, and there's a baby also. Then orangutan. So okay, orangutan. So you might have seen it in many of the movies, right? They are seen in the movie Jungle, right? So there are many movies. But this is a hybrid they show. Orchid. See, orchid hybrid. Orchid. I'm writing it as orchid. So wait, orchid hybrid. So it is kind of this, which is a polar and a grizzly bear example, which is mixed up. So it's kind of this, and it's really dangerous. The felid hybrids. Felid. One second. Felid hybrid. Okay, so we have a savanna. You might have heard the name because there's even a car named the bonnet. So it's a kind of a cat. That is a cat. So they're litigill. You can see a litigill. organ which is like this, a tiger and a lion. Tiger and lion, that's a very great breed I've ever seen. And boved hybrid. Boved hybrid. Let me show you this one. This one is of a bull and a buffalo, I guess. I have seen them a lot in the zoo I go. There's so much dangerous are being seen. Like, I know they are really dangerous. See, but yeah, when you get like hated by them, they are just like gone. Because you want to see them alive. So you can see a lot of examples. I give you a lot of examples now. Nomenclature of species. What do you mean by that? Rules for naming any species. The rules are set by ICBN for plants and ICZN for animals. So, what is ICBN? International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, and ICZN, International Commission of Zoological. Okay, so names are based on binomial nomenclature first, used by Carolus Linnaeus. According to it, any species consists of two names: generic name, that is the name of genus, that is synonym; specific epithet, that is the name of species, like tuberosum, like synonym tuberosum. First letter of the generic name should be capitalized while should be small. For the specific epithet, exception if the name is based on some person's name. When written with freehand or type, the generic name and specific epithet should be separately underlined, but during printing it should be italicized. Or you know what it means for italicized? Like, I want to do it to you. So it is nice. See, when I write this, I make an Italian thing. So once, like I have here, write here, I write, hi, how are you? Okay, I wrote this. I will select this thing right now. Okay, today there is a problem occurring with my system, but no problem, I'll solve it. I hope my viewers won't have a problem with it. Okay, so I will make it italic so it changes a little bit. So and you can bold it up too, so that it looks like, yes, it is a species. Italicized names are taken from Greek, Latin languages to avoid change as they are dead languages. Find the correct and incorrect scientific names from the list. If incorrect, find the mistakes, like Panthera leo. Now, when you're writing like this, it should be here. Let us see the thing. Okay, it is not italicized. Okay, have to make it Panthera Leo. So likewise on 1 second. Like you see here, Solanum tuberosum. So the first letter or like the name of the genus is capital. The first letter of the name of the genus is capital, and the name of species is small. So Panthera Leo is correct, but it is not. Okay. Mangifera indica. So here the problem is that there is an underlining in between, right? Okay, so we can identify this mistake by the pages. I'm gonna, okay, 1 second. I have to start. Okay, so don't worry. Okay. So, Panthera Leo is correct because the first letter of the name of the genus should be capitalized, but the name of the species should not be capital. Now it is underlined, so I will underline it too here. So like Magnifera indica. No. Underline it. Yeah, even if you do, it's fine, but style.
Mangifera indica.
Okay. I'm gonna copy it from here. Copy. Paste. Okay, it's a little bigger, so make it small or really small size, but yeah. Magnifera indica. So here is capital. It is italicized. And underlined. In the upper one, as we saw, it is wrong. It is wrong because it is not short. It is not italicized. Okay, I'm really sorry. I just okay, so look. Good. Enter. Okay, so next is Neophallus there. Neophallus. Is that because it is there more are there, and you can even do it, and you can tell me the answers on my Gmail address that is in the description box. Can you find out the common names of the species mentioned in the previous slide? And Parallel. We can find it out. Classification of living organisms. It is really important. Now I'm not gonna ask you these questions. Imagine there are millions of undiscovered species of living organisms on Earth, with just few 3 million registered species. How do we know about each and every of them? The answer is biological classification. The biological classification is the art of identifying organisms and placing them into groups that reflect their most significant features and relationship. Importance of biological classification. The characteristics of every member can be studied, and simply studying about few members. It makes the study systematic. It highlights the relationship between different organisms. It helps in identification of different organisms and placing them in appropriate groups. It explains evolution. How did the scientists figure out a way to classify all these million living organisms on Earth? Let's see the way. Continue. I'm gonna copy this. The whole thing. Okay. Okay.
Monster Math presents Addition Below 10. Okay, class.
Class classification of living things. What do a worm, a cat, a fish, a bear, a lion, a tiger, a deer, and a tree have in common? They are all living things. With so many living things in the world, scientists have created a way to organize life into groups and give them names that are recognized worldwide. So if you ever find yourself in China at a zoo looking to see the lions, and there's nobody there speaking your language, what are you supposed to do to ask to see the lions? Scientific classification's grouping of organisms can help you determine a lion's scientific name. From general to specific, the levels of classification are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. A lion belongs to the kingdom Animalia, a group that includes all animals. So in our group of organisms, the tree would not fit into this grouping. The phylum that the lion fits into is called Chordate. This is a group that includes everything with a backbone. The worm would be eliminated from our group because of its lack of a backbone. Class is the name of the next level of classification. The class that the lion belongs to is called Mammalia. Scientists use Greek or Latin words for the levels because they are understood everywhere. Mammalia means mammal, or animals with hair or fur. The fish is removed from our group because it's not a mammal. Order is the name of the next level, and the order a lion belongs to is called Carnivora, which means meat eating. The deer is not a member of this order, and he is removed. Next, we have family. A lion is in the Felidae family. Members of this family have retractable claws, so the bear is removed. Then we have a level called genus. A lion is in the genus Panthera, which means roaring cat. The house cat does not roar, so it is removed. Finally, we have the level called species. Members of the same species can breed and produce offspring. A lion is in the species Leo. So the tiger is removed from this group. So a lion is an animal with a backbone that has hair or fur, eats meat, has retractable claws, can roar, and goes by the name Leo. The lion's scientific name is Panthera leo. Scientific names are an organism's genus followed by its species. So a lion is Panthera leo. So if you ever find yourself looking for lions at a zoo in China and nobody there is speaking your language, all you need to do is ask to see the Panthera leo, and you will be sure to see the lions. Classification of living things.
Okay. So, species. So we're gonna come from the down part. That is kingdom. So in kingdom, animals will come as we saw in the video right now. Organisms able to move on their own. Then phylum, chordates, that animals with a backbone. Class, mammals, chordates with fur or hair and milk glands. Order, primates, mammals with collarbones and grasping fingers. Then family, hominids, primates with relatively flat faces and three-dimensional vision. Then genus, that is Homo. Okay, hominids with upright posture and large brain. Then species, which is Homo sapiens, members of the genus Homo, with a high forehead and a thin skull. So this is what it looks like. You can take notes on it. Then this is some examples. 5 kingdoms are Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. Then let us have some fun to learn biology. Organize any part of your home and share the basis and importance of the same with pictures and share it to my Gmail address, and I will show in the next video. Please watch these videos and come prepared for some rapid fire in the next video. So I'm gonna give this video. I'm not gonna show this, but I will give you the link. So bye guys, this is for today, and meet in the next class with another fun video. Bye.